Hello, everyone. This presentation is to show you how to use nearpod. Nearpod is a web-based presentation application that works a lot like PowerPoint, but provides a lot of fun interactive activities like polls, quizzes, open-ended questions. So what I'd like to do is walk you through what a Nearpod presentation looks like when you're giving it, and then quickly walk you through how to start your own Nearpod presentation. So with that in mind, I'm going to keep this screen up and I'm going to go to this tab where I already have a Nearpod presentation started. I've already started this presentation for the sake of time, and I've already signed in using my iPhone and my iPad. So you can see that these two students are already signed in. You can imagine if you had a classroom of students with Google Chromebooks, they could each sign in. If you had a 16 Google Chromebooks. You could have kids work in pairs. And it's as simple as having the kids log on to Nearpod, or I don't even mean log on to Nearpod. All they have to do is go to Nearpod and they're given this PIN number. So one of the best things about Nearpod is the ease of use for the students. If you've ever used other software applications, occasionally the program won't download, it won't work on someone's computer, it will work on one device and not the other. Nearpod is great. My experience with Nearpod has been very positive. It works on Chromebooks, it works on laptops, it works on iPhones, it works on iPads, it works on Android phones, it works on just about every device that a kid has had in my class. So I am going to play both teacher and student here to walk you through what a presentation looks like from a teacher's perspective. So the kids sign in. Once they're all signed in, you know that you're ready to go, and you can navigate by using these arrows, or you can click this arrow and it will show you all the slides so you can jump around if you want. I'm not going to jump around for this presentation. I'm just going to move forward. So this is a quick screen of what Nearpod main page looks like. So right up here, you can see it says join session. Again, you would give the students the PIN number. In this case, the PIN number is MNDCE. The kids would put that into the join session, click that arrow, and they'd be ready to sign in. When you want to sign up for Nearpod, all you have to do is click login and join using Google. And as long as you're signed into your Google account, you're automatically signed in. No filling out forms, no giving your email. It's great. It's very, very simple. So Nearpod, as I said before, Nearpod is a web-based presentation tool. The other thing that you can't see right now, you're looking at what the teacher would look at. This would be on the smartboard, or this would be on your computer. But the kids on their screens right now are getting a very close-up image of this. This image, what is Nearpod, all in blue, web-based presentation application, interactivity, polls, quizzes, questions. This is on their screen right now. So it really is a very engaging presentation software tool. So moving along, you can have a poll. So polls are probably my favorite thing on Nearpod. So let me walk you through a poll. I teach American history, so I tried to make that the focus of this activity. So it says, what do you think was the most important cause of the Civil War? Now, as you can see, my iPad and my iPhone have not yet answered. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my iPad right now, and I'm going to put in slavery, and I'm going to send that along, and you should see that any second. And there we go. So my iPad just said slavery. Now you can see 50% have not answered yet. Now we're only a class of 2 for this example, but I love this activity. So imagine again if you have 18 kids, it might say 42%. You can yell that out. You can say, okay, I need 42% haven't yet answered. 26% haven't answered. 14% haven't answered. It's great in terms of engaging, getting kids to participate. Kids enjoy seeing what the percentages are. Now, the percentages for this are going to be very simple because there's only 2 students, but it certainly gives you an idea. So I'm going to go ahead and jump on my iPhone here, and I'm going to send along states' rights as an answer. And you can see that will pop up in just a second. And now it's a 50-50 split. Once again, you can imagine how this would encourage debate and discussion. If I had a class of 18 students working in groups, I could say, oh, well, 26% of you said states' rights and 58% of you said slavery. Let's discuss that. Hey, what about the 14% of you who said Lincoln's election? I was not doing the math in my head. I'm sure that didn't come out to 100%, but you get the idea. So polls can be very engaging and really can encourage a lot of classroom interaction and discussion. You can make a quiz. Now, obviously, the difference between a quiz is that there's one right answer. So we'll go ahead, very similar to a poll, except, as I said before, there's one definitive answer. So what year was Lincoln elected? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go on my iPad. Now, what you don't see is the answers. There's 4 choices here. The students, of course, sees them. I'm going to click the right answer on my iPad, which is 1860, and I'm going to send that along. And on my iPhone, I'm going to click the wrong answer, 1844, just to show you what it looks like. So 50% got this answer correct, and this should pop up in just a second. 50% got this question wrong. I can see what the wrong answers were. Again, if you can envision a class of students doing this, you could very quickly tell if students understand the content. You could also tell common misunderstandings, and it could also be a very interesting point of discussion. You could say, oh, well, why did you think 1844? That's another important date, and certainly you understand how you would integrate this into your own class, but I just wanted to demonstrate that. Additionally, you can have open-ended questions. So let me show you an example. So the question, in your opinion, was Lincoln's policy successful in dealing with the issues of slavery? Now, an open-ended question is obviously going to take a little bit more time. For our purposes, I'm going to make this very, very simple. And I'm just going to write yes on my iPhone, and I'm just going to write no on my iPad, just to give you an example of what it looks like. I always tell my kids, think of this activity like Twitter. You don't want it to be too long. You don't want to have to read 18 long paragraphs. Share them in class, but not too long that it becomes prohibitive to go through them all. But this is a great activity that gives you an opportunity to integrate more thoughtful, more thinking questions. In addition, as the teacher, if I click share, on everyone's screen right now, they see my iPhone answer, which is a very simple yes, but you can envision if there was a student who gave an answer that you thought was particularly interesting or an answer that would encourage greater discussion, you could share that answer with the rest of the class and it pops up on their screen. So let me move along here. Now this is a neat, oh yeah, there we go. This is a neat feature that honestly I don't use a lot. And whatever your discipline is, I would imagine that if you had math and you gave them a graph, that drawing on that graph could be really a productive and beneficial thing. Obviously, I would imagine art, but I could see you using this in a lot of different ways. I'll be honest with you. This is the application that I use the least. Maybe it's just my own personal preference. Maybe it's the nature of my discipline. But you can have students draw on prompts that you give them. So to demonstrate that, what I uploaded was a map of America during the Civil War. It says, using the map, identify a military plan that the North might use to defeat the South during the Civil War. Now, you don't see anything right now. As the teacher, you don't see the map. You know it's there because you created the presentation, but you don't see the map. Students right now on their individual devices are looking at a map and it gives them an option to draw. So I'm going to very quickly just draw something on my iPhone and I'm going to send it. And now I'm going to very quickly draw something on my iPad and I'm going to send it just to demonstrate to you what it looks like. And that iPad drawing should be coming any second. As the drawings pop up, you can click them and you can share them with the class. So if I was interested in sharing this, now this drawing is now coming up on both my iPhone and my iPad. So if this drawing was shown, I could say, hey, look at student my iPhone. they really picked a very interesting battle plan here. This ended up being exactly what the North wanted to do. And then we could go here and I could say, oh, this is an interesting battle plan as well. Many people in the North believe that Lincoln should have done this, and this ended up being a major cause of contention. You can see how it's really engaging. I will tell you, I don't use this one as much as I use the other applications, but when I do use this one, the kids love it. I put up a picture of the Boston Massacre, a very famous engraving of the Boston Massacre, and asked them to identify aspects of propaganda. And there's just something about the tactile nature of drawing, that kids at any age really enjoy. Depending on your discipline, I'm sure you could find a lot of interesting ways to integrate that application into your teaching. So moving along, that's the end of this Nearpod presentation. So I just walked you through giving a presentation. I want to very quickly show you how to create a simple presentation. So let me go back to the Nearpod Google, and we'll start from the beginning. So you go to Google, you type in Nearpod, you click the link. The link will take you to the Nearpod webpage. There's a few different ways to sign in. The way that I do it is I click the login button. Now, when you log in, we've probably all had this experience where they ask you for your email and some long password that has caps and underscores and letters and exclamations, and those passwords are always hard to remember. I love Nearpod because Nearpod makes things very simple. I simply just sign in with Google, and as I said before, so there's an option here to the right, sign in with Google. As I said before, as long as you're logged into your Google account, it will automatically sign you in. Now, I'm actually doing this from home, so I'm on my home Google account. At work, obviously, I use the work Google account, and I would encourage you to do that just for your own, it's your own personal Google account. I wouldn't mix the two too much. So my library are completed Nearpods, and I'm going to go ahead and click Create. Now, one of the best features of Nearpod is that you can upload PowerPoints that you've already created. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to take the time. There is a little time. It has to upload, not a lot of time, but if you drag a PowerPoint into this area, it will upload that PowerPoint. And then you have a pre-created PowerPoint that you're probably happy with. All you have to do then is edit it and edit in the Nearpod applications that you want. It really makes things quite easy. So I'm not going to do that as I said before, but I am going to walk you through how to do some of the things that I showed you. So when you start a new presentation, it's going to look like this. And it gives you an opening welcome screen, and it gives you a thank you screen, and we can click Add Slide. When you add slide, it gives you a few options. Now, currently, I'm using the free trial. Now, that's not a free trial in terms of Nearpod going away, but certain things aren't open for you to use. I really don't use those things. I would imagine that as more and more people use Nearpod, that the district might be interested in investing in it. It doesn't seem overly expensive. But don't worry about that free trial button is the point that I'm making. So there's different buttons you can click. We'll go ahead and click Add Content. Add Content will give you a few options. You can, again, if I hit Slideshow, you could again drag a PowerPoint in here. If, say, you started a presentation and then decided that you wanted to add a PowerPoint, you could do that pretty easily. Depending on what you use, you could use any of these things to drag your media in there. I'm going to X that out because I'm not going to do that right now. You could add a video. Again, this is, again, if you use Dropbox, Google Drive, YouTube is a free trial. So if you can use that for a little while until you either buy the professional version or the school does. I'm going to X that out because we're not going to do that either. And slide, that's probably what you're going to use more often than not. So this is kind of like a PowerPoint slide. So if you click text down here, you can write PowerPoint. You can write whatever you want. I'll just write PowerPoint just to show you an example. And I'm going to write an example down here just to show you an example. And I'll go ahead and save it. So you can create PowerPoint looking slides in addition to uploading your already made PowerPoint. But let me get to the interactivity. So it says add activity. This is going to give you a number of options. Open-ended question. I'm going to try to go quick because I don't think we want this YouTube video to go too long. You would enter your open-ended question here. I'll just write question, obviously. Save. And there's your open-ended question. Add slide, add activity, and I'll click poll. And I'll just write poll question. And just again, to kind of keep it brief, A, B, add answer, C, D. And this is where I wrote, why do you think the North fought the Civil War? And obviously, you could put any question in there. Go ahead and save. And I'll add another slide. Let me click that one more time. I'll add another slide. I'll add an activity, and I'll do a quiz. And you're getting the idea. Quiz title, I'll just write title. I'm going to try to keep this very quick. And quiz question, I'll just write quiz. And you get the idea. Again, A, B, add answer, C, add answer, D. And then the only difference is you have to show which one is right. So for our purposes, I will make answer A right. And I'll pan down a little bit here and I'll save it. And last but not least, add slide, add activity, draw. Now the thing with draw is that you're going to have to drag an image that you want. And again, for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that. It really doesn't take a lot of time, but as you know, uploading does take a little bit of time, and that's time that we certainly don't want to sit around just watching an image upload. Let's see here. That's the basics. When you're done making your presentation, you publish it, and it's going to ask you these things. So it's going to ask you a title. Now, as any business is, I'd imagine that they're in this to make money. I'm going to make sample. I'm going to say general, and we'll do other. Normally I do social studies 11, and I'm going to say no. I'm going to say done. When you do this, you're going to get an email, and the email is going to say your presentation has just been published. So I'm just going to say yes. You're going to get an email, and when you get the email, they're going to say, hey, we just saw that you did a presentation on the Civil War. You might like these presentations that you can buy. Now, I personally can't imagine myself ever buying a presentation, but if you're curious, if you're one of those people who are like, oh, what are they in this for? How are they trying to get you? Well, they probably are trying to sell you something. Certainly, I don't think you have to buy it. And who knows, maybe if you see something wonderful, you will buy it. I personally probably won't, but I guess it's an option. The one that I just made, you can see I was fooling around with a few here. I was mainly doing this on my home computer for this screencast. My work Gmail account, I have a lot of presentations that I use. Let me show you one last thing, then we're going to end. I'm going to hit that sample. I'm going to open it. It's going to give you a couple options. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, let me go back. Sorry about that. Real quick, let me go back. And I'm sorry, I just had a brief loss of thought there. Let me go to the home button. What I'd like to do is take you to the library. Sorry, I was doing that through the presentations button. When your presentation is ready to go, you navigate back to the library, my library. You click it. And here we should see the sample that I created. It's right there. So go ahead and click it. That's what I meant to do before. And click live session. Live session will give you a pin to give to your students. This pin is HOKEL. You could put this on the board. When the kids come in, you could tell them to Google Nearpod. And when they go to Nearpod, all they have to do, show this to you very quickly, then we'll wrap this up. All they have to do is join the session by clicking in that little box. And HOKEL is what we said. HOKEL, join session. Now, as the teacher, I'm trying to be both the teacher and the student here. Let's see how this works. I close this, and it says, welcome to Nearpod. And now let me open it up as the student. And it's loading. Now, I'm wondering, I'm going to X that out. Yes, I think I'm going to X that out. I may have, oh no, look, it worked. So this is what the student would say. Now this is a little confusing because right now I am both teacher and student on the same computer, and this might cause a few hiccups, but real quick, I'll walk you through it. So as the teacher here, I can move the presentation along, and as the student, you'll see it changes. So I'm going to go ahead and write Chromebook as the student, and I'm going to send, and then let me go back as the teacher, and you should see Chromebook pop up here in just a second, and there I am. As the teacher, I move it along, and that's the there we go. As the teacher, there's a PowerPoint. You remember I made that slide. And as the student, this is what the student sees. So trying to do all of this on one machine and an iPhone and an iPad, I had a few moments where I got a little confused, but I hope that didn't confuse you. And I hope you like Nearpod, and I hope you use it.